I'm back at what I believe is one of the best national parks in all of Africa, the Kruger National Park. And I know there's lots of you that don't like it here because of the tar roads and the fact that it gets so busy, and maybe you think it's not really wild enough. But in this video series, I want to prove to you that if you come the right time of the year, you stay at the right camps, and most importantly, if you drive the right roads, you can have a magical time in the Kruger National Park. Now, it's mid-July, just after the school holidays have ended, so the park is going to be substantially quieter than it was last week. And I'm going to be here for 10 days. The first 4 nights, I'll be camping in the far north at Shingwedzi. Then I move down to the central region, where I'll be camping at Marula for 3 nights. And then I go to the far south to my favorite camp, Berg-en-Dal, for the last 3 nights. It's around 10 o'clock in the morning and I have just arrived at Shingwedzi, and I must have passed about 10 or 11 cars towing caravans and bush trailers coming from the front, and nobody passed me, so hopefully the plan has worked and there's plenty of nice stands to choose from. Let's have a look. I think I found the right stand. Close to the loo, close to the wash up, but nice and private. Man, that was not easy. It's so funny because just over a week ago, I ran the Kruger to Canyon Challenge, which is basically up and down the small Drakensberg here in the Lowveld. And I claimed on Facebook to be in the best physical shape of my life. And now not only do I struggle to put together my new stretcher, it's actually the first time I'm not going to sleep on the ground because my body hurts too much. The joys of being a 42-year-old YouTuber. There we go, that's the camp all set up. Always takes a little bit longer than you think. I'm nice and sweaty now despite the nice cool weather. I think it's time for a cold one. Thank you so much, that looks so amazing. It's time for a game drive, and I'm so excited because today I'll be testing a new piece of equipment. It's the motion mount door bracket designed by fellow YouTuber Richard van Hacht. Now I'll leave a link to his channel as well as the motion mount website in the video description. Now in the past I used to use something called a badger gear door bracket, and even though it worked okay, it was a little bit difficult to fasten it to the door. It had this funny clamp system at the top and then an arm that swung down to support it on the outside, and you had to fasten different knobs. But it was always a little bit difficult to get it perfectly balanced. But the worst was if there was a car coming from the front on a dusty road, I didn't have enough time to take it off and close the window before the car reached me. And the same problem if I just went into a shop quickly in and out. It was very difficult to take that down and to fit it back onto the door before a game drive. But those worries are hopefully something of the past because of the motion mount door bracket. Let me quickly show you how easy it is to mount. You just open these 2 little clips at the bottom, and as you can see, it was designed for Tom Cruiser specifically. That's right, you just send Richard your vehicle make and model, and he then cuts it to size. So technically speaking, this should fit onto my door. There we go, it's as simple as that. And as you can see, it's got the little thread there, and that's where I will fasten my Benro video head. Now, as I swing that around, you may have noticed that my video head has a very short little arm, and the reason for that is the original was way too long and always got in my way. So the other day I just took it to my brother's house and we cut about a piece that long off. And look at it now, not in the way at all. So I wouldn't drive with the camera fastened to this all the time. I would keep the camera on my lap and then use a molar bag on the left hand side, so that if I see something special very quickly, I can just put the camera on there. Or if I see something that I know I want that sort of perfectly stabilized footage, I would just slot it here into the video head like so, and now I'm perfectly sorted. Of course, I'll swing around to the other side if the animal's on the left. Let's go see what we can find. I'll be looking for different species in the 3 different parts of the park that I'll be visiting. And because predator numbers are relatively low here in the northern parts of Kruger, realistically speaking, the 2 animals that I'm most likely to see are elephants and buffalo. Now, I'm especially hoping to see big herds of each, which are quite common in this area. Now, having said that, I know that there's a pack of wild dogs that use this area around camp, and I actually saw them a few years ago, early morning, running just outside Shingwedzi. Now, my friend Ryan Thompson also sent me a message earlier today saying that they saw 15 lions drinking at Lamont waterhole just north of camp this morning, and that's where I'm parked right now with the hope that they're going to come down. There's about 30 minutes of daylight left, and coincidentally there are actually buffalo and elephant at the waterhole. Wow, I've decided to come and stop here on the bridge close to camp, and a massive herd of elephants have just walked into the riverbed, backlit by the sunset. This elephant sighting right here with the setting sun behind it, this is why I come to the Kruger National Park. And that's the magic that I spoke about earlier today. And I can't believe that this is just the first of 20 game drives. Man, it's gonna be a good one. I've stopped here at Babalala picnic site. It's not even 7 o'clock yet because I'm hearing a rattle on the roof. I think it might be the wood box, so I'm just quickly going to see whether I can sort that out. The reason I drove this way is so that I can take this beautiful S56 Mpongolo loop from the north going south, as opposed to taking it from the campsite, because it means I'll have the river on my right. It's quite gloomy out here, to be honest. It's cold and overcast and almost drizzly, but who knows, maybe that means we'll see a leopard. Let's go check this rattle. I think I found it. There it is. Whew, it's still quite chilly, and it's been a relatively quiet morning here on the Mpongololo, probably because of the overcast weather. I've seen a few species of general game, some elephants along the riverbed, but I've actually spent most of the morning bird watching, and that's actually been very good. I saw crested barbet, brown-headed parrots, Kurichani thrush, cardinal woodpecker, southern boo-boo. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing a new bird shirt today. It is my favorite, the white-crested helmet shrike. Actually saw some of these guys in camp yesterday, and you would have also seen that I wore my lilac-breasted roller shirt yesterday. Now, these are made by a company called Firefinch, and they have an amazing selection of southern African bird species to choose from. So go and check the link in the video description if you want to order your bird shirts. I think I should actually keep a bird list for this trip. I don't really know what's a realistic number to aim for, but at least 100 in the 10 days, and if we're really lucky, 150. I've just left camp, and there are always elephant bulls down here in the river just outside of Shingwedzi, and I spotted one of them with two massive symmetrical tusks, one of the biggest tuskers I've seen in a long time. There's definitely way more water along the riverbed south of camp, so I reckon if I'm gonna see a big herd of buffalo, my best chance is to do this stretch between camp and the Red Rocks Loop, or perhaps on the Red Rocks Loop itself. Wow, these elephants are drinking right below the red rocks, and I'm telling you, water is life. I found what looks like the back end of a big herd of buffalo. There's a couple of calves standing around and a few still crossing the road, making their way down towards the river. But unfortunately, I came across them in a Mupani thicket, not with a nice view over the river. So I don't really know whether there's enough time for me to go all the way around to the tar road and see whether I can see them from there, or whether I just have to cut my losses and wait for tomorrow morning. This is a big herd of buffalo. I can hear them calling 100 meters away in different directions, but they don't seem to be in a rush anywhere. They're kind of just static wherever they are, but I can hear them communicating with each other. Woo! Got cold very, very quickly. It's about 6:45 and today I'm driving south on the S50 towards Kanidoor Dam. I spoke to my buddy Byron Grobler from Wild Wild Journeys earlier and he said he had lots of luck on this road, so fingers crossed. Everybody always talks about how beautiful the S56 Mpongolo loop is, but I tell you what, this S50 south of camp is breathtakingly beautiful. Come all the way down to the Groot Dam. Let's see whether there are any animals here. Oh my goodness, there's no water. No water whatsoever. I can see a few jackal, but other than that, I don't think anything's coming down here because there's nothing to attract them. So, after my disappointment at Groot Dam that had absolutely no water in it, I've decided to come back north to Shingwedzi hide, and luckily there's plenty of water down here. Now look how cool this is. The motion mount door bracket is so easy to carry around and it works as a support in a hide as well. So I can just pop on my camera here and Bob's your uncle. Now did you see I'm wearing a new bird shirt today? Today is long-crested eagle. Not one that you're likely to see in the park, but another one of my favorites. Just after 10 o'clock and a small family of elephants have just arrived. Wow, what an amazing morning. That Shingwedzi hide absolutely surprised me. I went in with zero expectation, especially since it was so quiet and dry there at Grootwilde, and then 3 herds of elephants, all with babies, in the space of an hour. What a win. I'll tell you what else was a win, was this motion mount door bracket. When I first got it, I never thought about using it outside of the car, but then it occurred to me when I got to the hide that it's so portable and easy to take out, why not try it inside the hide? And as you would have seen, it worked perfectly. It was so nice to be able to pan with the monkeys and the elephants as they walked up and down along the edge of the water. Richard, well done on your design, mate. Something shocking just happened. On this trip, I decided to treat myself to some zoo biscuits, which I haven't had in probably over a decade. And I was about halfway through one of them. You know, I had chewed off the sides, licked off the icing, and then I turned it around only to find out it's got no more animals on the back. When did that happen?
Sometimes we act like a fool, not aware we're troublemakers. Sometimes we try to be cool, not being givers, only takers. Stop for a minute, stop and breathe for a minute. Don't get over your head, try to listen instead.
It's about 9:45 and I've decided to take a little bit of a walk through camp to do some bird watching. Our list is at 66. So let's see whether we can push it over the 70 mark. Birdwatching in northern Kruger is absolutely amazing, especially in summer when all the migrants are around. But I tell you what, Shingwedzi in winter is not bad either. And that's because there are thousands and thousands of aloes flowering. And as I stand here, I'm surrounded by sunbirds. Wow, I just learned the most incredible thing. I've been watching these feeding parties of birds congregate in the mopani trees between the chalets. Things like drongos, bee-eaters, helmet shrikes and starlings. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out why were they there specifically. And that's until a very friendly pair of honorary rangers, Pitman and his wife, came over and explained to me that it's because of a tiny little insect called a mopani cillet. I've never even heard of it before. Now, apparently this time of the year, there's an explosion of these insects, and the adults lay their eggs on the underside of the mopani leaves. And the larvae then form a tiny little sugar crust on them, and that's what a lot of the birds are going for. So when you see the little helmet shrikes and the starlings on the ground, they're actually turning over the leaves looking for those pieces of sugar. And then the flying feeders like the drongos and the bee-eaters, they catch the adults on the wing. Nature is just amazing, and I love learning something new every day. And I just love birds, and I love people who are not only willing to come out here in their spare time to make the camps nicer for us, but also to share their knowledge. Now, I'm going to head back to camp and start packing away the biggest things, because this afternoon is my final game drive at Shingwedzi, and early tomorrow morning I head down to Marula. It was tough to decide where to go on my final afternoon game drive here at Shingwedzi. But because I like all the roads so much, I decided not to choose any of them and just to come and sit here at Lamont Waterhole, because I know there's fresh water, and with it being as hot as it is, it should attract plenty of animals. Yo, there's a big bull coming in now. Uh-oh. That's how easy it is, folks. I really hope you've enjoyed these last 3 days with me here at Shingwedzi. The elephants really were the stars of the show. Tomorrow we head to Marula. At the moment, I'm slowly making my way down to Marula, close to Open Gate, where I'll be spending the next 3 nights. I'm very excited because my wife Tabby will be joining for that leg of the journey. So let's go set up camp and then see what we can find in central Kruger. Right, I've checked in at Open, grabbed myself a latte. Let's go see whether we can find a nice campsite at Marula. At first glance, it looks relatively empty. I suppose it's a good time, 11 o'clock, to check in. I'd really love to get a nice stand along the river. So I've done a quick walk around camp, and there's lots of free stands, especially here along the river. But there's a big group here behind me right in the middle, and there's plenty of tents and lots of little chairs, which makes me worry a little bit about noise later on. They're out at the moment. So I've gone for a stand a little bit further down. It does face the river though, so it should be good. Let's cue that time lapse. There we go, the camp is finally set up overlooking the river, and I'm so sweaty. I'm gonna go and grab a quick shower, hopefully before Tabby arrives. Wow, wow, wow. Can I quickly show you how nice these bathrooms at Marula are? Beautiful, bit of flickering light there, but check this. Stunning, stunning shower cubicles. They are absolutely spotless, and they've got proper doors. That is what you want to see in sand parks. Look who's here, everybody! It's Tabby! Hello! Whew, finally, not camping alone anymore. Man, it is so good to have Tabby with me. She's kindly opened the gate. Thank you. We're just gonna go for our first short game drive here from Marula. And like I mentioned in my Shingwedzi video, each region of the park will offer different experiences and different sightings. And here in the central region, it's lion country, and that's because there are so many grass eaters here. Plenty of zebra, plenty of wildebeest, and lots of buffalo as well. And those attract lions. So fingers crossed, over the next few days, we'll find some big and hairies. Thanks, Tabby. Hey, buddy. Hope nobody feeds you tonight.
I wanna do it all with you by my side. If you're in, meet me here tonight. Be brave and come along. I'll be alright. Promise we don't need no brake lights. We can travel the world, so just say yes. Choose to do whatever comes next.
We woke up to a very overcast morning, and it was actually drizzling when we got out of the tent. Luckily that's cleared up, but it's still very, very dark, even though it's after 7 o'clock. We're sitting here with the second herd of elephants for the morning, and we've seen a few giraffe, zebra, wildebeest, and even one of those hyenas that walk around camp we saw just outside the gate. But my hope is, because of this lovely cool weather, I might bump into some active cats. We heard all these go-away birds going off here along the river and thought maybe there's a leopard or something around. But after some investigation, we spotted a Vera's eagle owl. Shaman, he seems a little bit more concerned with us than he does with the go-away birds at the moment. I actually think there's a second one. Do you see there? There's two. So we're getting close to Satara, and there's a bit of a pile-up. We're guessing maybe sleeping lions, maybe sleeping cheetah. We'll find out soon enough.
There.
Eh?
No.
Oh, stalking water. Well spotted, my love. There she goes. I don't think they have any idea that she's there. Guessing she's probably about 30 or 40 meters away from them now. Right in the open, but they've got their heads down, so they've got absolutely no clue. So it's so funny, we just repositioned, and I'm looking at a line there, then I spot another one. Tabby's like, no, but it's there. So it's actually 3 lines, at least 3 that we can see. Thought it was a little bit weird for just one of them to be here. I'm not convinced they're all females. One looked like a young male to me, but we know now for a fact there's at least 3 lions here in the open. But the steenbokkie, it's a little bit too open, I reckon, for them to get very close to these warthogs. And as I'm speaking, they're actually walking away from them, so not convinced they're going to be successful. Wow, that was very cool. This gloomy, overcast morning actually turned into a beautiful sunny one, and that was a great lion sighting. A little bit of interaction between the lionesses there at the end when they sought out a shady spot. That's a difficult sentence for an Afrikaans person. And also to see them stalking at the beginning, or at least see one of them stalking. Almost they were going to have bacon for breakfast. Well, speaking of bacon for breakfast, I think we should head to Satara and go and grab breakfast ourselves. There is another pile up just south of camp. There's another pile up just... I might keep all of that in. There's another pile up just south of camp, and it looks like a OSV convention, these open safari vehicles. There's a ton of them, but no idea what they're looking at.
Okay, predator guess.
I'm gonna guess it's lions again. Yeah. How full is your bladder?
I can manage.
This might take a while, folks. So apparently Casper, the big white male lion, is sleeping somewhere here in the tall grass. So I'm not convinced we're going to see him. It's quite late in the morning already. It's 11:15. But he certainly has caused a big pileup, mostly of white cars.
2,000 years later.
I want to follow this guy. Yeah.
He's right here. Going.
Dead lion.
There he goes. That was our view.
Yeah. Nuts.
Madness. Ooh,
Whoa! Just found another beautiful Veros eagle owl. He's just sitting at this little viewpoint overlooking the Timbavati River in a massive jackalberry tree. Unfortunately, there are quite a few branches in the way, so it's hard to focus on him, but he's sitting in the sun, busy preening himself, and luckily for him, the go-away birds haven't spotted him yet. Oh, Tabby has a good idea. Let's see whether we can see him like that. See, there's the owl. There we go, there he is. Hey Tabby, do you feel a bit like a Disney princess? It's like birds everywhere. Hey buddies. There are some very cheeky birds around here. Check this. You can't just relax like this. Because otherwise this crested francolin is going to take it out of your hand. Wow, it's 12:15 and we just randomly bumped into this lioness close to open, stalking some wildebeest, and she went for it, but it was quite an awkward angle to film. She's in here somewhere. See whether we can spot her again.
4 hours later.
Tabby and I decided to come back to where we left these lions, hoping that they might still be in the area, and one just popped up. It's the collared female. Well done! must say that's amazing. It was like an outside chance that we would find them again. I mean, we literally in camp for most of the afternoon, just taking it slow. I had a nap, Tabby read a little bit, and then I said to her, let's just quickly go and fill up and then drive back to where we left them. And I very nearly got the spot wrong. I thought it was a little bit further up this way, and then Tabby said, no, it was on a rise. And as we drove past here, we stopped. We were probably here for what, 5 to 7 minutes? And boop, up came the head. This lioness just started stalking again. There's a warthog very close to it, just at the back. There she goes, there she goes, there she goes. Oh, there was something else at the back. Oh, there were some impalas at the back as well. It was a bit of a half-hearted attempt. Not even sure whether she went for the warthog or for the impalas, but she sat up now, so I think she's given up. Wow, what a cool way to end our time here at Marula with those lions. I must say that was quite unexpected. Tabby and I are going to have a nice braai tonight, and then unfortunately I have to say goodbye to her tomorrow as she heads back to Hoedspruit. But luckily for me, I've got 3 more nights left down at Berg-en-Dal. It's about 9 o'clock and Tabby and I had a nice slow start in Marula this morning, having some tea and coffee overlooking the river before we packed up and I had to say goodbye to her. I'm slowly making my way now down to the south of the park. Now remember what I said right at the beginning of this series? And I know there's lots of you that don't like it here because of the tar roads and the fact that it gets so busy, and maybe you think it's not really wild enough. Now, unfortunately, we experienced a little bit of that over the last 3 days. It's like Kruger kind of showed its worst side to us. First of all, we were caught in a few really bad traffic jams around Satara, especially when Casper the white lion was involved. But I was also very disappointed with Marula, if I'm completely honest. I thought we were going to have this really quiet, quaint little campsite where we could sit in the evenings with our Marula, overlooking the river and enjoying the scops owls and the lions roaring. But it ended up being incredibly noisy. I'm now heading to the far south where I'll be camping for 3 nights at Berg-en-Dal. I'm going to be looking for the last 2 of the big 5 that I haven't seen, leopard and rhino, and luckily that area is excellent for those 2 species. And as I say that, there's a little mini pile up in the road. Let's see what they are looking at. Let's see. What is on the left? It's a leopard, leopard. Wow. There's a leopard with a kill here. I can't really see it. It's behind a bush. I can just see its head, but I might stick around a little bit, see if I can see it a little bit better. That was completely unexpected and unscripted. I was about 10 kilometers from Orpen. Well, it's now 9:30. Let me make my way down to Berg-en-Dal. Currently driving this very long corrugated S36 that cuts down towards Kukuza. I want to try and get to Berg-en-Dal in time to get a good campsite. Woo-wee! That was a long drive, but I have finally made it to Berg-en-Dal. This will definitely do. It is level, it is shady, and it's got a nice view.
Feel it in my bones, I can feel it in my veins. Hands in the sky, I can feel the winds of change. My camp is set up and clean and fresh, as you can see.
And even though I'm quite tired and it's already quite late, I just couldn't resist and I've come out for a game drive. I'm probably just going to do this little Marula loop around Berg-en-Dal. And over the next 3 days, my main aim is to find leopards. And luckily I know they love this hilly terrain. So let's see how long it takes before I find my first spotted cat.
It's 2 a.m. and I can't fall asleep, 'cause I'm not tired. I'm thinking about the days we used to shine when we were young.
So depending on how tomorrow goes and how lucky I get, I might actually go and sit at a waterhole for the whole day, the day after that. Because I saw on the weather forecast that it's going to be nice and hot. And it's just something that I've always wanted to do. And here in the Berg-en-Dal area, there's some really nice waterholes to choose from. And we're obviously in the dry season, which means the waterholes should be nice and active. So one nice option is this Marula waterhole that I just stopped at, because it's nice and close to camp and I really like that elevated position. But my favorite waterhole in the area is James Pan along the Mlabani River. So I'll check that out tomorrow, see what it looks like, how much water there is, and then I'll make my decision. It's a chilly, overcast morning, and I'm on the S25 making my way down to where it joins with the S119, part of the Mlabani River Road. Let's go look for leopards. It's been a very slow start to the morning. It's already 7:30 and I've hardly seen anything, and I think it's because it's so sort of dark and gloomy. It really is freezing this morning as well. But I've driven all the way here to James Pan and finally saw something. Just 3 spotted hyenas just leaving the waterhole. Unfortunately I got here a couple of minutes too late, but at least now it feels like something could happen. And I think I'm going to park off here a little bit. It's such a beautiful spot, and I think I've already made my mind up. This is where I'm going to come and sit tomorrow. Now, speaking of warmth, luckily I've got my 5-inch hoodie on. You'll see it's the Hammerkop one. And in our household, we actually don't call it a Hammerkop, and I'll tell you why. Tabby and I once drove in from Open Gate on a day visit into Kruger, and there was a car parked way off the road on the left. So I pulled in next to him, wound down the window, asked him what they're seeing, and I think it was a French guy, and he looked at me and he said, "It is a duck, but it is a special one." So we call it special duck, and I even crossed it out in the bird book and wrote there special duck. So I've got my special duck hoodie on, I've got my gloves on, I've got some coffee, and I've got a beautiful view over James Pan. So let's see what happens. One of the sandparks guides who's leading the morning safari in the big truck just stopped next to me to tell me that there are some rhinos up the road. So I'm just quickly going to drive up, see whether I can find them. Oh, here they are. Here they are. It's a mother white rhino and her calf. It's a little bit hard to focus on them because it's so dense, but boy, it's nice to see rhinos. And this whole morning, driving along the Mlabani River, I saw lots of active rhino middens, which suggests that there are still quite a lot of them around, and that gives me hope. So I've turned around and I'm driving back down to James Pan. The rhinos weren't far away from that. And it really is in the heart of leopard country. I've seen so many leopards in this area. I've seen leopards in trees, I've seen leopards on rocks, I've seen leopards drinking, I've seen leopards cross the road, I've seen more leopards in trees, all within a 1 kilometer radius of James Pan. And with it being quite cool, there's all the chance in the world that an active, thirsty leopard shows up this morning. Woo, it's heated up nicely. Special duck has come off and made way for martial eagle. And I must admit, it's been a little bit of a frustrating morning. Very, very quiet. I sat at James Pan for almost 2 hours and only zebras and impala came down. So now I'm slowly making my way back to Berg-en-Dal, but who knows? Maybe there's a sleepy leopard waiting for me in one of these beautiful trees. Whoa, time flies. It's already 3 o'clock. I just spent 4 hours in the Berg-en-Dal restaurant working behind my laptop. I quickly built the review video for the motion mount door bracket that I tested this week, so I'll link to that above. But I'll also give you my final thoughts tomorrow when I spend the day at James Pan. There's 2.5 hours left. It's still nice and overcast. So again, I'm just going to do a short game drive and see what I can find. I have come down to Marula waterhole to sit here for a little while and to prepare myself for my marathon session at James Pan tomorrow. And I see that there are a few lazy buffalo bulls around. Oh boy, this is exciting. I was first out of the gates this morning at Berg-en-Dal and I've arrived here at James Pan before sunrise. And I've always wanted to come and sit here for the whole day. There's no wind, no clouds, and they're predicting hot temperatures. So let the magic start. Oh boy, it's 10 past 8 and it's been a very quiet start. There has been 3 sets of 3 impala that have come down to drink, but otherwise just some birdies. Luckily I have got lots to keep me full. I just finished my coffee and I've got my little lucky packet here with some Pringles, some tennis biscuits, some more sweeties, and I've got some nice leftover pork that I fried last night. So if nothing comes down, I'll just eat. Man, this James Pan is just so beautiful, and I'm talking about the actual waterhole itself. It's perfectly located for photography in terms of the light and the distance from the road. It's nice and open and it's a nice shape as well, and you can actually see the water inside. And so many of the waterholes in the park are so ugly and very poorly placed, and I just cannot for the life of me understand why sand parks haven't put in more waterholes like this, so that the thousands and thousands of people that visit the Kruger every year can enjoy magical moments like this. I can hear some elephants trumpeting close by, perhaps just down in the river. So I'm just making sure that I'm ready. Oh, here they come, here they come. That was amazing. The whole morning has been super quiet. In the first 4 hours, I literally only saw impala come down and drink. And then suddenly at about 10:15, all hell just broke loose. As 2 big herds of elephant, about 100 impalas, 6 zebras, and a mother rhino and calf all tried to drink at the same time. Man, I cannot tell you how amazing this is. I'm completely surrounded by elephants. Over the past 2 hours, herd after herd have been coming in, and most of them haven't left. They either hang around the waterhole or they just move off a short distance to feed, and then they go and drink again. So there's just a few cars parked here at the moment, all of us enjoying the spectacle. Now yesterday I promised you that I'd give you some feedback on this motion mount that I've been testing for the past week. And I've done a full review. I'll link to the video above and you can go and watch it afterwards. But basically, to summarize, I absolutely love it. It does everything that I wanted to do. And the most important thing for me was to have something that comes in one unit and that's super portable. In other words, I can quickly bring it in and take it back out. And obviously, it does the most important job, and that's to keep your camera stable when you film or take photos absolutely perfectly. Now there is one thing that I do think might be worth changing, and that's basically the length of the feet, and I mentioned this in the review as well. When I used it at Shingwedzi hide, I was able to use it fine because the edge of the hide had a pyramid shape like this. But I think if you're on flat ground, like a normal edge of a hide, or even if you want to use it on the ground at eye level, it would be better for these legs to be the same length. And then speaking about the legs, one other thing that I have noticed is it's absolutely fine and stable when you pan or when you tilt down, but the moment that you tilt up, it has a tendency to slide in a little bit, at least on my car. And the reason for that is that those legs at the bottom, there's a little bit of space between that and the middle part of the door. And that's because the top of the door of this cruiser has got a little bit of a belly. So all I've done is I've taken a little wooden block, which I always carry around with me, put some insulation tape around, and I've slotted that into that little gap. And that has resolved the problem. So if you guys like the motion mount, go and check out the link that I've added at the top of the video description. There's a link that'll take you to the website. You can go and learn more or order your own. Thank you so much again to Richard van Hacht, the creator of the motion mount, for sending me this one and giving me the chance to test it here in the Kruger National Park. So one thing I didn't take into consideration here at James Pan is that in the afternoon the sun is right behind the waterhole and there's no respite from the heat, not a single shade tree. So what I've done is I've come around and I'm now parked on the opposite side of the riverbed, but I still have a view of the waterhole. So if something interesting comes down, I can swing back around. At the moment, there's still hundreds of elephants all around the water. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I've decided to skip the afternoon game drive because yesterday when I went for a run and camp, I just remembered again how beautiful Berg-en-Dal is. So I've decided to come out and to walk the Black Rhino Trail. Runs past all these beautiful aloes and then all along the camp perimeter. And who knows, maybe we can add another bird species or two. Speaking of which, the list is at 102. So throughout this series, you would have seen me wearing these beautiful bird shirts, and they're made by a company called Firefinch. And it's actually quite a fun story. A few months ago, Tabby and I were staying in Magubaskloof, and I saw these shirts advertised online, and I ordered my 3 favorite ones. And then subsequently, I found out that a mutual friend actually knows the owners of the company. So long story short, you know, we had this match made in heaven where they've got an amazing product and I've got a nature-loving audience. And I started helping them to promote the shirt. So if you guys want to order your bird shirts, go and check out the link that I've added in the video description. And there's so many different beautiful Southern African bird species to choose from, in different colors, as you've seen, for both men and ladies. But my story with birds actually go many, many years back. My mom tells this story that when I was 4 years old, my first bird book actually fell to pieces because I had paged through it so much. And we'd be driving in Kruger, they would see a bird and then ask me to identify it. And I would page through the book, point at it, and they would actually then tell me what the name is. And that's how I learned the birds of Southern Africa. And I also remember when I was about 7 or 8 years old, Kellogg's Wheat Bix, the cereal brand, had the raptors of Southern Africa on the inside of the little flaps on the side. So I would eat as much Wheat Bix as I can every morning so that my mother would buy more and I could collect all of those raptors. So I've just had this amazing relationship with birds for as long as I can remember. Now, these bird shirts are not the only thing that Firefinch produces. They also have an excellent bird app, the Firefinch app, to which I've linked in the video description as well. And unlike the Roberts app and the Sassel app that are essentially just bird books in app form, the Firefinch app is completely differently designed, and it really has the user experience as the most important feature. And you'll see what I mean when I show you some examples. So unlike those other apps that have different bird species on each plate, this one only showcases one bird species per plate. And I like that because that allows you to not only show the features of the male, female, and the juveniles, but also to show you a little bit of that bird in the environment. And then it also doesn't have a lot of text. It just has the most important information, like the distribution map. It's got the sounds, and it's got a lot of great photos. And you'll see with the photos, those have some annotations. And then most impressively, and the thing that I like the most, is that the sounds actually have the sonograms. And as you play through them, it's got beautiful little annotations as well. So not only do you hear what the birds sound like, but you can also see what they sound like. And you'll actually see that if other birds were recorded in that same recording, they actually add that in the annotation. So I love actually just going through and listening to the different sounds all over again so that I could see those beautiful sonograms. I also love the way how they've categorized it in things like plungers and swimmers and walkers and flyers. It's just a very logical way to go through all the birds. I also love the bird list feature where you can not only choose a specific color, but you've got lots of different logos to choose from, and even small things like that make the user experience so much better. And then lastly, every single week they release a new Dawn Chorus podcast, and that way we all get to learn more about birds. Go check it out. Oh, this place is special.